Alright, so here we are in the fun part of the unit here. Let me block out some of that sun. Go over a couple of things that are in here. One thing to know about these kind of units is that the Ultimate Toys has a lot of different little goofy options that that you may or may not have on any given unit. Some of them have exterior speakers, some of them don't. But one thing that they all share in common is that the wiring harness that they use is the same across the board. So you will see things like, for instance, this exterior speaker switch that is live and hooked up and turns on. You don't have any exterior speakers on this, so it's kind of a dummy switch that you're going to see in every other Ultimate Toys unit, whether they've got the exterior speakers or not. So you may find a few things like that, or options in your Firefly system, either here, there, or the one in the back there, which is just asleep. That's not something that you're missing necessarily. Just the Firefly systems are all also programmed to be able to do anything that's on any potential Ultimate Toys unit that they get. So they're not programmed for each individual unit, but what you can do is with what settings are on here. So I like to have this one set up to be controlling mostly just the lights. So all of your lights are going to be on here. If you hit the home button with all of your buttons, you can do Light Master off, and you'll see it got dark in here real quick, or Light Master on. Now any light that has like this little up and down looking arrow, if you hold down on that button, you see that center light is dimming and then getting brighter, and it'll go through that, and when you take your finger off is where it's going to stay. So cool thing about the Firefly system and the Light Master on off is if you want to like kind of set the mood for your lights that you have all through here. Right now it's honestly kind of a little bright, so if I wanted to turn these down a little bit, the system will remember my brightness settings, and then when I turn them all off and then back on again, they will go right back to the brightness setting that you previously had it at. So that's kind of a cool little extra thing. From here, the little thermometer button, predictably going to take you over to your climate control. Very straightforward, just like in any RV you would have had before. Set the mode, set where you want the fan at, then just let it do its thing. Fusion, this is going to be extra controls for your stereo right there. And then on the settings, there's a couple different buttons. Auto dimming will make it so that this will dim out after a while and not just always be on. Cleaning mode, if you hit that button, it's actually going to freeze the screen so that it doesn't respond to touch for about, I think, 15 seconds, so that you can wipe it down without messing with any buttons. So that's, a lot of people wonder what that is. That's all it does. It just freezes the screen so you can clean it. If you go to a different country or you want to represent Celsius, you can do that. Control setup will allow you to customize this home page here. So from here, let's say if I wanted to change this button where the center light is, I'd tap that first, and then I've got some things to choose from here. So there's lights, the shades. These shades are not powered. These are manual shades, so don't bother putting shade control on there. And then there's also miscellaneous controls too, like your water pump. If you had a 110 water heater, you would be able to turn that on. Inverter, internet, intercom, tank heaters, and then this is the partition control right there. So there's that, and then there's all the different lights and whatnot as well. So you can play with that and get it set up however you want to. This one here will also do the same thing, where you can kind of control it, do a little bit different things with it, and then when you got the screen set up to where you want, just hit that confirm button, and boom, you're right back here. So on this screen over here, and again, you can customize these screens however you want. So if you want to have the partition control on here, you just need to add it to it. Just remove some of those light controls. So they're already all the way down. So that's the partition window control. Pretty simple. You got Light Master on and off here too. You can turn your internet thing on or off as well. Speaking of the internet, I know you were going to try to get that set up if you weren't able to do it yet, but you still want to be able to have like TV or smart TV or whatever while you're driving around on Tuesday. One thing I recommend, if you can turn on tethering for your phone. If you have 5G, that's generally fast enough to run anything that you need to for your TV as far as like streaming or whatever. Or, if you wanted to watch like a YouTube video on your TV, you can tether your TV to your phone and use your phone data if you have that added to your plan to be able to watch TV. So we actually did that quite a bit when we had this thing in the showroom floor. A couple of Buckeye games that weren't shown on regular TV and had to stream it somehow. So I just tethered the TV to my phone, and that's exactly what we did. And because we don't have any TVs in the dealership here, which is kind of a sin for anybody that comes in on a Saturday. I hate those dang noon games. I get off at 3 on Saturdays, but a lot of games were noon last year, so that kind of messed me up. But anyway, more about the back here. These two seats, the one that I'm sitting in and the one right next to it, does have the recliners. So this button right here, going to be your reclining. You did have a question too about adding one of those shelves to this. So this is not the same height as it is on that other van that you showed me. It's a little bit different. So if you wanted to add something like this with the flip out desk, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, or a little bit different from what you might expect, just because this one is set up a little bit different. But I would wager very heavily that you're not going to be able to do it anyway. You're going to need to come up with a different solution, because I guarantee that in here is a bunch of wires that are leading right here to your sound system. So you can Bluetooth your phone up to this and play your tunes through the overhead device. That's always nice to have. This is like a wet cooler. You could actually put ice in there if you want. This one, okay, no, this one is just for like storage. You could put like cold bottles in there, and it's a little insulated, but I wouldn't put ice in there necessarily unless you want to have to clean that out. Rear seats, you do have seat belts, and the safety of a seat belt in a side facing chair is questionable on its own. So whether or not you elect to use them, you can, but they're at least legal to have people riding in them in all 50 states. I don't know what the law is in Florida, but in Ohio, if you're over 18 and you were back here, you wouldn't need to wear a seatbelt at all. But if you're under 18, anybody sitting in this seat, in Ohio anyway, would need to have the seatbelt on to be legal. But you can just kind of stuff these down in there and get them out of the way, because they're a bit of an eyesore, but they do stuff down in there and will be out of your way, so you don't really have to look at them or see them. This does jackknife out. It's just lift up underneath, folds down. You can do the same thing to this side, and then you've got kind of a little makeshift bed to kind of chill out on. It's not super long, so you'd be kind of sleeping a little bit awkwardly, but you could do worse, that's for sure. And then to get them up, it's kind of hard to do with one hand. So let's see. I don't know if you're able to see anything I'm doing here, but if you kind of lift up and then with your right hand back here, kind of pull up on the back, it'll flop right back down into place. Again, coming here into the bathroom, you do have a little switch right there as well to turn your lights on and off. And actually, it looks like that I was wrong here, because the microwave does have power right now. So that means your 2000 watt inverter over here is powerful enough to run your microwave. So that's actually good. So when you're rolling down the road, pop in a Hot Pocket, grab yourself a cold beer, and then you can, lose all that over here. Your fan works just like any other RV fan. The little red button is off, and then you push up on the handle. You see the daylight coming through. Pull down to secure it, and then the red switches on and off. Definitely don't leave this open. You don't want a bunch of water coming down in here. It is covered on top, but water can find its way in there. And when you pull, just kind of spread your fingers out as much as possible, because if you try to pull in one little space, this feels a little flimsy. Sometimes I've seen them break if you pull down too hard in just the middle. So kind of like get your whole hand in there and spread your fingers out and distribute that force evenly so that you don't break this. But you then just push up. Very, very simple to get the fan to work. So your shades, you got shades back here in the bathroom too. Just very simple upsy downsies. So that's how all the shades are going to work. None of them are powered necessarily. Pretty much done in here. You do have a little hook here on your fridge to keep it from flopping open as you're going down the road. So if you want to secure that, Just flip that forward. And looking around here, I mean, you got little USB ports all over the place. That'll be very, you got them here, you got them here. USB ports right there behind the cup holders. So you're going to be able to charge your phone no matter where you're at. Pretty easy peasy. You do also have the third button on your remote that will open up your sliding door here with the remote fob. Or if you're on the inside, push that red button. There goes the door. And then actually, if you can see in the middle of the cup holders where that red blinking light is, that's actually also a door control for the person who's in the front seat. So the driver can actually open up your passenger side door here to let the occupants in the back out without even having to get out of the van. Also, same thing, close it without having to get out of the van. So very easy. But that's pretty much it. That's all I can think of. Everything else is pretty straightforward, especially for somebody that's owned an RV. But if you do have any specific questions, bro, just call me. I'm always happy to help. 614-329-8749. Take care.